Hi, everyone. Welcome to the New Frontier Africa on CABS World TV. I am AbdulRasheed Abubakar. Today we'll be talking about human trafficking and its effect on African economy. The United Nations and the African Union and several other African international organizations have established several agencies to work on human trafficking and human rights across Africa and all over the world. But today, human trafficking continues to become serious concern to all African leaders. On the show today, I have Honorable Tolulope Akande-Sadipe, Chairman House Committee on Diaspora from Abuja, Nigeria, joining me in the studio. Welcome, Honorable.
Good evening. Should I be saying good afternoon or should I be saying good morning? Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We are really grateful for that, and thank you for working with us on the network. What was it like, Honorable? Tell our viewers, what was it like working with Beirut? To secure the release of the women?
Actually, there was one key woman, her name was Temitope Ariwolo, who had made a video, and the video had gone viral about what she was going through at the hands of our employers. And the case had been taken to the Labor Department in Lebanon, and it was found out, at that point, they found out that these employers had been rather cruel to her, and they banned them from being able to ever employ a domestic in Lebanon. Temitope now found refuge at the embassy, and a few ladies were going to be repatriated back to Nigeria, and she was one of those ladies. And a few of them, on the day they were leaving, the employers went to the airport apparently and stopped them from leaving. Thereafter, the other ladies were released, and Temitope was charged for attempted murder, which we found to be frivolous charges in our opinion, because how come our employers did not charge her at the point when they were banned from employing a domestic? Anyway, at that point, it became a national issue for us here in Nigeria, and the House Committee on Diaspora Matters, who has responsibility for Nigerians abroad, had to wade in. So we collaborated with Nigeria NAPTIP, and we were able to get in touch with the Nigerian embassy in Lebanon. IOM got involved, and IOM got an attorney, as in a lawyer. And we also invited the Lebanese ambassador, Diab Hussam, who came for a good faith meeting with us. And we had intensive discussions about the matter. And he informed us at the point when we met with him that she was going to be released. At this point in time, she has been released. She has arrived in Nigeria. But we have attorneys still working with the attorneys she had in Lebanon to confirm that those charges were dropped. Not that there's a case ongoing. And then at the end of the case, should they not now come out and say the innocent girl is guilty? What happens? She's already in Nigeria. So there are issues that are legal issues that need to still be resolved. At the time we met with the ambassador, he raised the issue of a Lebanese who is in jail in Nigeria for human trafficking. And we also said we would look into his case. But it's not going to be an automatic release. We have to find out that for sure he's not guilty, for example, and that if he is found to be complicit in what has happened to the girls he trafficked, he has to compensate those girls. Any salaries that they are owed, he has to pay them, and he has to repatriate them back to Nigeria, the ones that haven't been repatriated back. I believe one of the girls in that case was one of the girls that came back home. And when I spoke to her, because I met them on arrival, she told me clearly that she hadn't been paid, which we'll also investigate. If she hasn't been paid, and then before anything can happen to the Lebanese agent who is here in Nigeria on trial, he will have to compensate every single one of those girls.
Wow.
So what I would say to you is that The ladies who arrived at home over the weekend, last weekend, arrived at home because there was collaboration between the people and the agencies I just mentioned.
So it was a collaborative effort.
Yes, but we still have a lot of girls in Lebanon and they need to come home. Right now, there's an aircraft leaving tomorrow. Unfortunately, 6 of the girls will not be on that aircraft because they haven't purchased tickets yet. That information came to me this evening, and we've been trying to see what we can do about it. But as you all are aware, National Assembly has oversight over certain agencies, and the agency that's involved with this is NAPTIP and Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
So how do you think this effort would help the Nigerian economy if they're able to stop human trafficking?
Let me say something about human trafficking. The ladies trying to go abroad to work in decent jobs are not the problem. The problem are the people who exploit them. For example, you're a professional. You're working in America. No one is victimizing you for working. But what is happening here is some unscrupulous people employ these ladies to go and work abroad. And rather than compensate them as they should be compensated, they refuse to. When they put these girls in homes to be domestics where they're being ill-treated and treated like slaves, and they go back to the agents abandon them. So that's where the problem is. Because you see, with these girls working abroad, they're able to provide funding, for example, foreign exchange remittances to their families here. But you find out that in some situations, instead of the monies going to their families, the agents are taking their monies. And they have become a very, very evil force to contend with. Extremely evil force. So if our ladies who want to go abroad to work in legitimate jobs,
so these agents, are they, I'm sorry to cut you, are they Nigerians or they are Lebanese?
No, we're talking about Nigerians who have been trafficked to Lebanon. First and foremost, they shouldn't be in Lebanon in the first place. First and foremost, Lebanon should not be giving them permits to work because there's no labor agreement between Nigeria and Lebanon. Now, the ambassador to Lebanon has assured us that Lebanon will no longer employ our ladies unless the agreement between Lebanon and Nigeria is actualized. In the meantime, all the girls that are there, some plan must be put in place to bring them back home. So we're in talks with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and NGOs to see how these young ladies, there's an NGO, Project Ferry, they've been very supportive of these girls. They house them, they feed them, they pay for them to come back home. But because of the current economic times, even Project Ferry has fallen on hard times. And the recent girls that are stuck in Lebanon, the 6 that are supposed to be coming tomorrow, unfortunately will not be part of the girls that are coming in tomorrow. So if, foreign exchange remittances accounts for a large sum of foreign exchange that comes into Nigeria. And these ladies that go out there to work account for a nice portion of that as well, those that are getting their monies paid to them. So really and truly, they do have a positive economic impact on Nigeria. And that's why, one, we shouldn't abandon them.
So thank you, Honorable. How do you think we can, how do you think Nigerian government can prevent, this kind of ugly incidents from reoccurring again in future?
You know what it is? I'm going to say it categorically. We need to hold our ministries, departments, and agencies responsible and get them to do what they ought to do. There are situations where some agencies will tell you that they're cash straps, so they're not able to deliver on their mandate. And then there's situations where agencies are not, or ministries are not delivering on their mandate because either they're complicit or they're incompetent. And I will cite the example of the Ministry of Labor. The Ministry of Labor has been asked to submit documentation with the ongoing investigation, documentation to the National Assembly, to the House of Rep, on the agents that they have given licenses to. For example, there has been a moratorium on licenses since 2017, I believe, yet agents were still getting licenses as recent as 2020. We've invited the Ministry of Labour and they haven't been able to supply documentation. One of the requirements is that before an agent takes employees abroad to work, there must be an orientation and a counseling session for every single one of these employees. There are documentations that should be submitted on a yearly basis by the agents showing where the ladies are, who they're working for, and what they're being paid. All these reports we've requested from Ministry of Labour, they haven't been able to supply any of them. You find out that oftentimes the journalists hold the National Assembly responsible for a lot of things that have gone wrong, but that is not the case. The National Assembly have oversight. Like the case of Diaspora now, we have oversight and we're trying to implement this oversight, and the MDAs are making it impossible for us. We have invited, for example, the Minister of Labour 5 times. He has refused to come. He keeps sending his PS, not even the Minister of State. For example, today, they told us that the Minister of State was going to appear. He didn't show up. When we took the PS, who has been appearing, who claims that he's not conversant with what is going on there, and a lot of these things happened prior to his time, yet he was the one who signed one of those licenses in January of this year, this PS. The PS had the audacity to walk out on the National Assembly, on the House of Rep, on the committee. But then it is so sad that at the end of the day, it's the National Assembly, it is the House of Rep that is held responsible for the failings of the executive. It's about time that we have the weight of Nigeria, the people of Nigeria behind us to help us ensure that we are able to achieve the objectives of our oversight functions. And it's very disheartening. I'm telling you, the issue of human trafficking, and then there's also the issue of organ harvesting and export. So we have many issues to contend with, which can only be stemmed and brought to an end if the executive collaborates with the legislature. The legislators are ready to ensure that we put in the proper laws, we create laws, and we perform our oversight functions. So that's that in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. To young girls out there watching this show today, what advice do you have for them?
I have a lot of advice. It's not always greener on the other side. You get a lot of sub stories. And I'll tell you this, a lot of the girls who have been trafficked and are out there, on their quiet moments, I'm sure a lot of them regret it. There's a young girl who came back home on Saturday, came back home in a wheelchair. She can't walk. There are girls who have come back with scars all over their bodies. In the recent past, 2 ladies have died. We don't know what killed them till today. It was claimed that there was an autopsy done on them, but they found nothing. I find that autopsy unreliable because there was no member of the Foreign Affairs, no member of our embassy in Lebanon present, no medical practitioners on our own side who was there to observe the autopsy. So for me, as I sit today, I don't believe those girls died of natural causes because of some of the stories I've heard. On the other hand, the girls who have been trafficked, as miserable as they are,
My viewers all around the world, I think, we lost Honorable Tolulope Akande-Sadipe, Chairman House Committee on Diaspora from Abuja, Nigeria, who joined me on the show to discuss critical issue around human trafficking and human rights in Nigeria.
Okay, sorry about that.
Yes.
I had a bit of an interruption due to the network. Where was I? So my advice to girls is the opportunities that you can find for yourself at home, considering sometimes how much money you pay to these agents. You should use that money to start a business. Over time, your businesses will grow. I always advise people, do not go into businesses that have to do with wants. Go into businesses that have to do with needs. Because once people need something, they'll always come to you, they'll always buy for you. And that way you can create an economic base for yourself. You can start from a very little base and grow your base. That is it in a nutshell. Please, please, please avoid going off with a lot of these agents, because they will lie to you. They will make you swear all kinds of oaths that don't mean anything. Because if somebody intends to cheat you and you've sworn an oath to be loyal to that person, because that person's intent is to cheat you, the oath is null and void. So you have nothing to be worried about. It's very disheartening, I'll tell you. As we speak right now, we have over 20,000 girls in Mali that have been trafficked to Mali. And unfortunately for a lot of these girls in Mali, they haven't been trafficked for domestic work. They get there and they throw them into prostitution. Not only do they throw them into prostitution, there was a video I watched recently where these young ladies were living in tents. Tents, being prostituted under tents. I remember last year, one of the people from my constituency came to me and said, oh, she had found a job in Dubai and she was going to be leaving for Dubai. I should help her buy the ticket. And I refused to buy her the ticket, but instead I went online and I showed her numerous videos of what they put Africans through
in Dubai
when they get to Dubai. You know, young innocent girls that have been turned into sex slaves. Such appalling horror stories. And I believe I was able to convince her not to go. We need to have more funding for NAPTIP to enable NAPTIP carry out its mandate. And part of its mandate is to get those agents arrested and prosecuted, to counsel the girls, to provide accommodation for them, to provide skills for them as well. So it's very key. Again, like I say,
getting them through rehabilitation back into the society so that they can be
and also trying to prevent. Also trying to funding to prevent girls, education, going to the rural areas to educate the mothers, educate the fathers, educate the girls themselves. Because I'll tell you, a lot of the people that are being trafficked, it's out of ignorance. A lot of them don't have a clue. Some of them, they'll lie to their parents that they're taking them to Lagos. They get to Lagos, they tell them they're taking them to the big cities. They get to the big cities, and the agents now start lying to them that, oh, you make more money here in Nigeria. You're only making maybe 50, 40, 30, 20,000 naira a month. When you get to Lebanon, you're going to make dollars. You're going to be working. And the young girls buy the bait, because like you and I, we want a better life too. You know, so I don't hold them. I don't hold it against them. It's just that we need to employ them. And labor and productivity needs to do a better job at their responsibility of policing, reviewing these agents, policing them, selecting the agents that get licenses. Because I'll tell you, a lot is lying on Ministry of Labor, and Ministry of Labor is failing the people of Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Honorable Tolulope Akande-Sadipe. I promise your personal assistant that I'm not going to take more than 30 minutes of your time. But you know, it drags a little bit because of the slower in connectivity earlier. Sorry about that. I would like to thank you so much for joining me on the show today. I will continue to explore more of your work and more of the Diaspora, which is your primary office. You being the chairman, House Committee on Diaspora. I'll continue to explore better opportunity to talk to you in future. Thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring our invitation for today. To all my viewers all around the world, thank you for watching today's show.